Hi ladies and gents, Pond here with another video for Rise of Empires, Ice and Fire. Thank you so much for all your previous likes, comments and subscriptions to the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, why not click on that button and ring the bell so you can get notifications of whenever I'm dropping videos on the channel, which is daily. And now on to the topic of this video, which is a topic that I've been asked to do quite a lot. I know other YouTubers have already covered it as well. And the topic is reducing your charcoal consumption. So up here on this menu, you'll see that we have the amount of charcoal that is saved and your storage capacity. So I'm in my Pond Farm 2 at the moment, which you would call like my 6th account, I guess. It is a C25, and we are basically, the more buildings you accumulate, the higher the level of the building, the higher the demand, the consumption of charcoal. So you can see on this diagram that consumption currently is 334,000.6 per hour, and I do have 100% charcoal supply going to all of my kind of production. So having your charcoal available is important. If you run out of charcoal, it really reduces the production capacity of all of these elements: lumber, food, marble, iron, gold and ale. So it is important to try and manage your consumption. Now, of course, for those of you earlier in the game, having to fill your charcoal factories is a big hassle, because it just basically requires lumber, and certainly at all stages in the game, to be honest, lumber is a very key resource for upgrading, like for cavalry troops, for instance, requires lumber. A lot of key buildings like your iron storage, the stables, I think marble storage, all of these kind of big level buildings require vast quantities of lumber. And then also things like zone commemoration research, zone conflict research, a lot of research. You know, you're going to require a lot. So lumber is one of your resources that are going to be a bit more scarce in supply compared to, say, food, and even at later stages marble. So what can you do to basically reduce your need for that lumber in your charcoal factory? So first off, obviously you do have, the most obvious thing is the charcoal workshop. You get one of these in your accounts. The higher the level of your charcoal workshop, the more charcoal it will produce, up to 81,000. So I could actually increase my production here by about another 16,000 by upgrading it from level 20 to 25. And the other thing, which is a generally well-known system, is that you can actually disconnect buildings from your roads, and they will then stop requiring charcoal. So any building that obviously is connected, the game needs you to have it connected to a road for it to function a lot of the time. But there are some buildings that you can get around. Now, I'm not going to spend forever showing you all the different buildings, because otherwise we'll be here for like an hour. But I just want to take a few, for example. So for instance, encampments. These are a good option for disconnecting, because if we go into stable and train, obviously encampments affect the time and the quantity of troops that you can train. So you can see currently that all of my encampments are connected to the road, and I can train 5,810. So what happens if we disconnect them? So you can go to build, remove road. So we'll just remove these 4 sections. Oh, I've missed one. I need to remove that bottom section. There we go. So now these top 4 buildings have been disconnected, and that's the rest. So in terms of the encampments, now I've removed all 8 of those. So let's check our charcoal consumption. It's down to 328,000. So we've managed to reduce it by 6,000 an hour. And then if we go to the stable and click on train, you can still train the same amount of troops. So that's kind of one thing. You can definitely have your encampments disconnected. Some things that are going to hurt you, for instance, if you see here, we have our iron storage buildings, and currently you can actually hold 76.5 million in your front stock with the buildings connected. Now if you disconnect, and let's just have a look at the iron, so iron production is 100,000 at the moment. So if we then remove, should just be that one by the looks of it. Yeah. So if we look at now, do you see, having disconnected those buildings, you have reduced your front capacity to 526,000 and the production has dropped to 57,000. So you do need to have your resource buildings like iron mines connected to roads for them still to produce the resources that you require. So you can't remove your iron mines, for instance. If you want to disconnect your farms because you don't need food, I would say that is going to be a good option. But yeah, you want to have your storage and your resource buildings available still. So you need to play around with it a little bit. Medical tents is another good one actually. So if we check in our Lord info at the moment, medical tent capacity is 329,000. So if we remove these four, so now the medical tents are disconnected, as you can see. Now, one thing with this is obviously you don't want to have your medical tents disconnected while you're doing KE, because if you look, you can't actually heal any troops in them while they're disconnected. But if you look, the capacity hasn't changed. So again, outside of KE, or if you're shielded and you're not going to be having troops building up in your medical tents, then you can keep those disconnected as well. So you just got to be smart really about the buildings that you're disconnecting, because you don't want to disconnect a building which then actually has a bigger negative on the impact of on the functionality of your account. So that is basically the main theory behind it. The more buildings that you can disconnect, obviously the better that the more you're going to reduce your consumption. You are looking at around 1,000 charcoal, maybe a little bit less per building. If you look at how many buildings you have in a castle, you've got 20 farms just alone. So you just got to have a play with it, guys, and work out what's going to work best for you. But that is how you can reduce your charcoal consumption. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, then please do click on that like, and as I say, if you haven't already, why not click on that subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can get those notifications every time I'm dropping a video on the channel. And I'd be interested to hear your comments about what you're doing to reduce your charcoal consumption. Obviously, I've only just I didn't want this video to be too long, so I've just touched on the subject briefly and shown you a couple of examples. So if you guys have been doing this a lot and have some best bets, please do pop your comments in the section below. And if you could please share my channel and this video in your alliance chat, province chat, and through Line, WhatsApp, Viber, Discord, whatever you use to communicate with your fellow players in the game, that would be absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for watching. That's it for now. I'll see you soon.